Hello. Welcome back to Speakeasy. I am still Paul F. Tompkins. With me today is a stand-up comedian, a podcaster, a filmmaker. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to my colleague, Mr. Doug Benson. Doug, hello.
Hello.
Cheers. And
Cheers to you. You almost put a question mark on filmmaker. You were kind of surprised by it.
Like, as I was saying it, I was realizing it's true. I wanted to see if you would disabuse me of that notion.
Well, you know, I don't call myself that, but
now
it has happened twice now.
You have made 2 films.
Yes. That makes you a filmmaker.
3 times it's a pattern.
Because you know how annoying it is when somebody calls themselves a stand-up comic just because they got up once at an open mic.
Yeah.
But films is a little bit more of a commitment, I guess.
I love when people like that say, I used to do comedy.
Yeah. I used to do comedy. Oh, really? Where did you? There was a bar. It was open mic night.
Yeah.
I tried it. So I used to do it.
I'm the same as you.
I used to do that.
Yeah. You grew up in San Diego, and you were dared to do stand-up comedy.
Yeah, in Los Angeles, right? I'd moved to Los Angeles to pursue a career in show business. I just thought you'd just show up and...
Did you know what
something in it would be right for me?
You put on a tight sweater.
I knew I could write, and I thought I was an actor, and but stand-up comedy was not on my list of things to do.
Who was it that dared you to do it?
Oh, just 2 buddies of mine.
And
just said we think you would be good at doing stand-up comedy, because I probably was always saying stupid things. Cracking wise, as they say.
Exactly.
And I didn't think I could, I just thought it was too hard to do. I thought it just seemed like, well, that's like, those people that do it are amazing, how great they are at it.
Now that's a rare attitude, right?
Yeah. No, most people are just insane and just think, oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
No, I was not that person until I tried it the one night and got some laughs, mostly prop work. I brought a big bag full of crap and pulled things out of the bag.
What did you have in that bag?
It was ridiculous. I had a stuffed penguin. It's a male penguin, but it has a plastic egg inside, like the egg they used to put pantyhose in.
Sure.
And you open up the egg, and there's a little baby penguin inside the egg, and it was very cute and weird that that you could pop the egg out of the penguin. So I just pulled it out of the bag, popped the egg out, opened the egg and showed everybody the baby inside and then put it all down. There was no joke. It was just, and I knew enough to know that it was funny that there was no joke.
Right.
But it was in the act for a while.
For a while?
Until I gave up props. Like I did props for about a year or so.
Did you know the first time, oh yeah, I'm gonna always do this? Did you have that feeling of
That very first time, I really thought, oh, I can go up here and people will laugh.
Right.
That was all I needed. And then, then a bunch of horrible shows to follow. A lot of getting friends and relatives to come, who, as helpful and happy as they might be to be there, are terrible at it.
Yeah.
They don't know what's funny about you, and a lot of times they've heard it already.
Yeah.
So they cheer and stuff, but that's not, you don't want a cheering section in the crowd. You want the whole crowd to laugh.
Especially in the absence of laughs.
Yeah.
If it's just like you're done and then people start cheering.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
On,
they're just rooting you on with no real interest in what you're doing.
Oh, they're idiots. Now, I know that early in your career, you had, it was a very important role. In a film called Captain EO.
That's right.
Who was your co-star in that?
There was Michael Jackson.
That's who I'm thinking of. Michael Jackson.
For a second, I thought you might have been thinking of the tiny elephant.
Obviously, everyone knows Captain EO, but just in case there's somebody that doesn't, this was a film. How long was the movie? It was not feature length, was it?
No, it's 16 minutes long.
Right.
Long enough to turn the house over. 50 times a day at Disneyland.
At Disneyland. It showed exclusively at Disneyland.
And Disney World.
I do beg your pardon.
In Epcot Center, because it's terribly educational.
And presumably
and
Euro
about
Disney.
The world we live in.
Right.
Yes.
3D?
Yes. It's
okay.
Not only is it 3D, it's the 3D that makes me angry every time I go to a movie theater now and sit there with the glasses on watching 3D. Because in Captain EO, stuff comes out and floats around in front of your face. Little children swipe at it. it's really effective. It really seems like the thing is there.
Right.
And all these movies that are in 3D now in the theaters, nothing ever comes at you. It
Right.
looks deeper more than things coming at you.
Right.
And it's like, well, there were backgrounds in the movie, in regular movies. Like, who cares how deep it looks?
In regular 2D movies, you're
Yes.
thinking, oh my God, they're standing right next to the sun.
We're watching a painting.
So the plot of Captain EO is
Oh, yes.
Michael Jackson
to
plays
Captain EO.
the titular role.
Yes.
Okay. And
I said that to someone recently, and they lost their mind that that's a word, titular, because it is fun.
this person's 6 years old.
This is a 4.5-year-old. Yes.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
So-
what did you play in Captain EO?
I played myself, actually a dancer. I'm credited as a dancer. There are no credits on it, actually. It's an amusement park attraction.
but on your IMDb.
But it was directed by Francis Ford Coppola, and it was all over the news because it went crazy over budget. It took months to shoot this short thing, and it was costing a ton of money. So to save money at the very last part of the shoot, they decided we don't need the dancers that have been doing this elaborate choreography for the final scene, which is just generic jubilant dancing. So we will hire extras and put them in the dancer costumes. So some of us, myself included, didn't even have dancer bodies. And we're in these outfits that are like, all slit up so that there's all these holes in it. It's the most embarrassing thing I've ever worn in public. And I didn't even take any pictures of myself in it, which now I'm kicking myself for. But at the time I was like, I don't want anybody, it's fun that I'm in this thing and it's gonna be at Disneyland, but I look terrible. And people ask me all the time, like they'll watch it on like YouTube or something, and they'll say, "Which one's you?" And it's just like they cut so fast to avoid showing how terrible me and all the other dancers are.
So it'll just be like frames of people.
It goes pretty fast.
Now, I remember you telling me you were an extra in Blade Runner, and I remember you pointing yourself out in that movie, your head's bobbing
you had,
along.
at the time, I believe you probably had like a laser disc of it, and we were able to, that was when you could get a really nice freeze frame.
Right.
And I showed you where I am in Blade Runner, because it's not easy to spot.
No, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. Ever.
Yeah,
You're wearing a crazy
it's
future
in your
hat.
brain for life.
Yeah. I remember you told me a story about Harrison Ford involving, he was on this motorcycle.
So you're standing next to one of the crazy futuristic cars.
Right.
That had an exposed tailpipe.
Right.
That was crazy hot.
Right.
And I guess he leaned up his leg up against it, and and screamed bloody murder, like lost his mind, which probably is the right reaction when you get a really bad burn on your leg, but then stormed off, and then we just sat around all night and never worked again for the rest of the night. And the whole night I was like, that jerk, we gotta sit around all night just waiting on him just because he got burned on a tailpipe? What's wrong with that? Come on, Han Solo. I mean, that's part of the reason I was there. I was just excited to be in his next movie.
Yeah.
And then of course, the next day when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, I'd scream bloody murder and walk off the set too.
Yeah, it's like to the
I
bone.
might never come back to show business if that happened to
I'm
me.
out, you guys.
Yeah.
My leg hurts forever. You love movies, so much so.
Indeed.
You have a podcast devoted to your love of the movies. How long have you been doing the podcast now?
I don't know. How long have you been guesting on it? 'Cause it's about the same.
Doug, I can't remember a time when I wasn't.
Approximately the same. It's been 5-6 years now, maybe?
I guess so, right?
Yeah.
And the podcast is very successful. It's called Doug Loves Movies, and it's got a very devoted following.
I'm the titular Doug. And movies are what I love.
That's right.
And people write to me all the time saying, all you do is shit on everything. Why do you say you love movies? I'm like, that's why. I love them so much that I will not cut them a break when they disappoint me.
Was the podcast easy for you to figure out? Did you know right away, oh yeah, I should just do this? Or did it take some time to sort of figure out what you wanted to do? Did you know right away, like the thrust of it would be playing the game with the guests, or was it a thing that gradually evolved?
I think I played the game in the very first episode. I think that was one of my first ideas of what to do, but I think it was more like at that time it was like I've got to do some stuff here. It's a show about movies, but I think just sitting and talking about movies, like at some point that's just going to feel like, it needs to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And so I came up with this idea of playing this game that I used to play with my friends called the Leonard Maltin game, and changed the rules around a little bit, and they've changed a lot over the years. But basically, when I started podcasting, I barely even knew what a podcast was.
Right.
And the only examples I had were like, stuffy kind of, Prairie Home Companion, NPR kind of stuff, or comedians sitting around talking.
Right.
So I just sort of took the comedians sitting around talking and just tried to give it a little bit more of a structure. Mm-hmm. And now, for better or worse, it's very similar week to week. And if I don't play the Leonard Maltin game, then I'm gonna hear it from people. It's like if you tune in to watch Jeopardy and Alex is like, let's just talk to the contestants for 22 minutes. We'll play on the next episode.
You've had some amazing guests on your podcast. One of the
Is that a humble brag?
No. Wait, from me?
Yeah, because you're on it all the time.
That's true. That's what I was leading up to, including me.
There's been me and who else? Who else is on the list? Just out of curiosity.
Et al. Michael Rooker, whom people will know from many movies, and
now he's Merle on Walking Dead.
Yeah. He's a curious character.
Yeah, he's interesting.
And one of the categories that he had to guess movies for was the films of Michael Rooker, and he didn't do so well, right?
No, the movie was Sea of Love, and as the game works, you read a bunch of names from the cast, and then the person has to guess what the movie is based on. Some of the more obscure names, but he's in the movie, and I listed off 6 or 7 people that he was in the movie with. Yes. Yeah. And it's just not his area of expertise. Recognizing the cast of one of his films. Tom Arnold had the same problem. But I give him a little bit more slack because his movie was Carpool. You know what I mean? One movie was an Al Pacino movie that was fairly effective.
Yes.
I think Harold Becker directed it. And right? Did you just look off somewhere to get a confirmation on that?
I nodded at the camera. I'm sure everyone knows that Harold Becker directed Sea of Love.
Harold Becker directed it. And it's a good movie. John Goodman and Ellen Barkin.
That's right.
And Michael Rooker. Didn't recognize.
Didn't ring a bell.
Yeah.
Who are some of the people that you would love to have on the show that haven't been on yet?
I had such a desire to get John Lithgow on and spent like a long time campaigning.
That was a full-on campaign.
And then it finally happened.
Yeah.
And you were on with him, and James Pardo.
Thank you for asking me.
The shooter was there, and you. And it was, many people think, including myself, that it was one of the best episodes ever. And then after that, it became, well, who's my next, white elephant or whatever? Who do I really want to get? And I thought, I don't want to live that way. I don't want to sit around hoping that I'll get a certain person, because really great people are just stepping up now, and it's just happening. Plus, I've already got all these friends that do it that are great at it.
Yeah.
And so much fun to have back, because people that know the games and know how to play them tend to be more compelling guests than people that are just confused by everything.
But if it didn't have to be a campaign, if it was just somebody that you could just magically
like happened. If I was answering a question in an interview at a bar where we both had a cocktail.
Yes, let's say that.
What would I say then?
Let's role play that situation. So who's your great white whale for Doug Loves Movies? And then we'll talk about who your white elephant is. And then we'll talk about your 500-pound gorilla.
I still can't think of somebody.
But like a Robert Redford. To have him play the Leonard Maltin game.
Okay, I got one.
Sure.
Alan Arkin.
That's a great one.
Right?
That's a great one.
That would be super fun if that happened. But
absolutely.
I don't think he would be happy to be there. I think these games are ridiculous.
What's the point? What are we talking about?
I'm old. Why are we doing this?
Are you touring a lot lately? Mm-hmm. A lot? Because you go on the road a lot.
I try to.
Because you really enjoy it, right? You like that life.
I have fun, and I also do shows in weird places at weird times.
Yeah.
So no one's walking through the door, with kind of like a, not familiar with this guy, let's see what he's got. It's more like, we know what we're getting into, and everybody seems to have a nice time.
Oh, well, your fans are pretty game for these, you do shows at a certain hour of the afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah, and
I want to say not quite 4:30.
Yeah, a little before 4:30, and it's a traditional time with some people.
Yeah.
And so they come out, but also the whole podcast thing has really changed the makeup of my audience, because fans of the podcast will come to my stand-up show because they want to, play the games from the show. So now every show I do on the road, I play the Leonard Maltin game.
So you've made a couple movies, Super High Me, which was your own version of Super Size Me, where you did 30 days not smoking any pot at all. And were you completely sober? Were you drinking?
Yes. No, not drinking. Not drinking. No,
30 days completely sober.
Just for the sake of the experiment, I didn't drink the entire time, because drinking is my go-to if I can't smoke. Might as well have a cocktail.
Sure.
Might as well do something.
What's your third option?
That's it. It's a shallow well. Yeah. Then the next step is just, maybe I'll have a nice meal, maybe take a nap, whatever it is I have to do.
I'll take a deep breath.
Yeah. I'll re-examine what I'm doing. I'll think about my choices for a while.
So 30 days clean, and then 30 days
and then 30 days of all day, every day.
And drinking too?
And no drinking.
Enjoy some of the fun.
Again, I wanted to just show people what a person who's really high is like.
Right.
And what, at least in my case, it's a person that shouldn't necessarily drive a motor vehicle, but also will stand there and tell someone who's drunk they shouldn't drive a motor vehicle. Like, you don't become it just doesn't change you the way alcohol does.
Right.
But it's not for everybody, I understand that.
But you think it should be legalized?
Yeah, and now, 2 states just went for it and made it legal. And those are the only 2 states I'm performing in for the rest of my career.
Even if the rest of the states legalize it.
Hang on, I'm still doing that take.
I'm sorry. Just gonna get in your shot there a little bit. Just want to enjoy some of the fun.
No, the other states can pile on. Wouldn't that be great if I had that much influence? Like, if you legalize marijuana, I'll come perform in your town.
You're gonna hold them hostage. Yes, exactly. You should send ransom notes to these states.
I love cutting and pasting.
It's so much fun to cut and paste. You say, if you want to see Doug Benson live,
right,
then you know what you got to do.
I don't think that's gonna work.
It's worth a shot. Yeah, you also might get arrested. I think anytime
you cut and paste, you can't just do that like your annual Christmas card.
Exactly. Well, I think anytime you're sending it to a government facility, like, you guys are doing a great job. I think even then it's like, we have to get this guy in irons right now. Doug Benson, thank you for being my guest.
Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure
on the
to
program.
See you. I look forward to seeing you on your program next. That is it for this episode of Speakeasy. I am Paul F. Tompkins. Please come back and join us again when my guest will be a different person. Thumbs up. Let's keep it up. Let's keep it up for the duration of the fade out.
My arm's getting tired.
You gotta hang in there. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and check back every Monday to see who I interview next. And for more info about Speakeasy, visit mademan.com.